Welcome to our channel English Avenue. Some people speak a lot and still say nothing. Some people stay quiet and still understand everything. Intelligence is not always loud. It does not always try to prove itself. In fact, many truly intelligent people don't look special from the outside. They don't try to impress. They don't try to show off. They don't try to be the center of attention. But the way they think, the way they observe, the way they understand life is completely different. And many times, these signs are misunderstood. People think something is wrong with them, but in reality, these are signs of a deeper mind. In this video, you are going to understand those signs, not in a basic way, but in a real, practical, and meaningful way. In this video, you will learn the real signs of intelligent people, and at the same time, you will improve your English. So stay with me and subscribe to keep learning. So, stay with me, because you might discover something about yourself that you never understood before. Sign 1. They like to be alone and quiet. This is one of the most misunderstood signs of intelligent people. Many people think, if someone likes to be alone, something is wrong. If someone is quiet, they are weak or shy. But that is not always true. In many cases, it is the opposite. Intelligent people are not afraid of being alone. They are comfortable with it. Because their mind is always active. They don't need noise to feel alive. They don't need constant conversation to feel connected. They can sit alone and still feel engaged. Let me explain this simply. When a person is alone, two things can happen. Either they feel bored or they start thinking. Most people feel bored, so they look for distraction. Phone, social media, talking to someone, anything to escape silence. But intelligent people use silence differently. They use it to think. They reflect on their life. They analyze situations. They replay conversations. They try to understand things deeply. This is where their growth happens. Not in noise, but in quiet moments. Silence gives them space. Space to think clearly. Space to understand themselves. Space to improve. And this is very powerful, because clarity comes from silence. Another important point, they don't avoid people because they hate them. They choose solitude because they value their mental energy. Too much talking, too much noise, too many opinions can make their mind tired, so they protect their peace. This is something most people don't understand. They think, why are you so quiet? Why don't you talk more? Why do you like being alone? But the truth is simple. They are not trying to escape the world. They are trying to understand it. Also, being alone helps them improve their thinking. When you are always surrounded by people, your thoughts are influenced. But when you are alone, your thoughts become your own. You think independently. You don't just follow others. This is why many intelligent people enjoy reading alone, enjoy walking alone, enjoy thinking alone, because these activities help them grow. But let me clarify something important. Being alone does not mean being lonely. Loneliness is when you feel empty. Solitude is when you feel complete. Intelligent people usually experience solitude. They are okay with their own company. And this gives them strength, because they don't depend on others for their peace. They create it from within. Now think about this. If you are always busy, always distracted, always surrounded by noise, when will you understand yourself? When will you think deeply? When will you improve your mind? This is why silence is powerful. It allows you to go deeper. and intelligent people naturally move towards depth. So if you are someone who enjoys quiet time, likes to be alone, prefers deep thinking over constant talking, don't think something is wrong. It might be a sign that your mind works differently, because intelligence is not always about speaking more. Sometimes it is about knowing when to stay silent. Sign 2. Pressure to always succeed. This is something most people never talk about. From the outside, intelligent people may look calm, but inside, they often feel a strong pressure. A pressure to do something meaningful, a pressure to achieve more, a pressure to not waste their potential. Most people are satisfied with average. If things are okay, they feel fine. But intelligent people think differently. Okay is not enough for them. They feel like they are capable of more. And because of that, they put pressure on themselves. This pressure does not always come from others. Many times, it comes from within. They expect more from themselves. They want to grow faster. They want to improve constantly. They want their life to have meaning. And this creates a different mindset. They don't just live day by day. They think about their future. They think about their purpose. They think about what they can become. Now understand something important. This pressure can be both powerful and dangerous. Powerful because it pushes them to grow. It makes them work harder. It makes them think deeper. It makes them aim higher. But at the same time, it can also create stress. Because when you expect too much from yourself, you may feel, I am not doing enough. I am behind. I should be better than this. This is something many intelligent people struggle with. They are never fully satisfied. Even when they achieve something, they think, I can do more. But here is the important lesson. Pressure is not the problem. The way you handle pressure is the real issue. If you let pressure control you, it will create anxiety. But if you use pressure correctly, it becomes fuel. Fuel for growth. Fuel for discipline. Fuel for success. So instead of running away from pressure, intelligent people learn to use it. They turn it into action. They don't just think, they work. And this is what makes them different. They don't settle easily. They keep moving forward. So if you feel this pressure inside you, don't think something is wrong. It might be a sign that you want more from life. Just remember one thing. Use pressure as motivation, not as punishment. Because your goal is not to become perfect. Your goal is to keep improving. Sign 3. They take cautious and calculated risk. Many people think intelligent people take big risks. That is not always true. They don't take random risks. They take calculated risks. Let me explain the difference. A random risk is based on emotion. You act without thinking. You follow impulse. You don't consider the outcome. But a calculated risk is different. It is based on thinking. Before they act, intelligent people ask, what can go wrong? What can go right? Is this worth it? What will I learn from this? They don't rush. They analyze. They observe. They think before they move. This does not mean they are afraid. It means they are aware. They understand that every decision has consequences, so they don't act blindly. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine two people want to start something new. One person jumps immediately. No plan, no thinking. Just action. The second person takes time. They learn. They prepare. They understand the risks. Then they act. Who has a higher chance of success? The second person. Because their action is not based on excitement. It is based on understanding. This is what intelligent people do. They don't avoid risks. They just choose them carefully. Another important thing, they are not afraid of failure, but they don't want unnecessary failure. They want meaningful experience. So even if they fail, they learn something valuable, and that makes them stronger. Now understand this deeply. Life always involves risk. If you do nothing, that is also a risk. If you take action, that is also a risk. So the goal is not to avoid risk. The goal is to take the right risk. And this is what makes intelligent people different. They don't just act, they think, then act. They balance logic and courage. They don't let fear stop them, but they also don't let emotion control them. This balance is powerful because it leads to better decisions, better results, and better growth. So if you are someone who thinks before taking action, analyzes situations, deeply prefers smart decisions over quick decisions, then don't think you are slow. You are being careful. And careful thinking often leads to strong outcomes. Because success is not about fast decisions. It is about right decisions. Sign 4. Questioning everything. Most people accept things as they are. If someone tells them something, they believe it. If society says something is right, they follow it. If everyone is doing something, they do it too. They don't stop and ask, why? But intelligent people are different. They question everything. Not because they want to argue, not because they want to prove others wrong, but because they want to understand the truth. An average mind looks at information and accepts it. An intelligent mind looks at information and analyzes it. They ask, why is this true? Who said this? Is there another perspective? Does this really make sense? This habit changes everything, because when you stop accepting things blindly, you start thinking independently. You don't just follow the crowd, you create your own understanding. Now understand something important. Questioning is not about negativity. It is about curiosity. It is about learning. It is about going deeper. For example, if someone says, "This is the best way," an intelligent person may think, "Best for whom? In what situation? Is there a better way?" This kind of thinking protects them. It protects them from wrong advice, false information, bad decisions, because they don't accept everything easily. Another powerful point. Questioning builds clarity. When you ask questions, your mind becomes sharper. You don't stay confused. You search for answers. And in that process, you learn more than others. But this habit also has a challenge. Sometimes people don't like it. They may say, "Why do you think so much? Why do you question everything? Just follow what everyone is doing." But intelligent people don't follow blindly. They respect ideas, but they verify them. They listen, but they don't accept everything. And this is what makes them different. They are not controlled by information. They control how they understand information. Let me tell you something powerful. If you never question anything, you will always depend on others. But if you start questioning, you build your own thinking. And that is true intelligence. So if you are someone who asks a lot of questions, thinks deeply before accepting something, tries to understand the why behind things, don't feel like you are overthinking. You are developing a strong mind. Because intelligent people don't just live life, they try to understand life. Sign 5. They talk to themselves a lot. This may sound strange at first. Many people think talking to yourself is weird, but in reality, it is a powerful sign of intelligence. Talking to yourself does not mean you are confused. It means you are processing your thoughts. When intelligent people talk to themselves, they are not just speaking. They are thinking out loud. They are organizing their ideas. They are solving problems. Think about it. Your mind is full of thoughts. Sometimes those thoughts are not clear. They are mixed. They are incomplete. When you speak those thoughts, something happens. They become clearer. You understand yourself better. For example, you are confused about a decision. In your mind, everything feels complicated. But when you say it out loud, I have two options. If I choose this, this will happen. If I choose that, that will happen. Now your thoughts are structured. Now you can see clearly. This is why intelligent people talk to themselves. Because it helps them. Think clearly. Solve problems. Make better decisions. Another important point. Self-talk improves self-awareness. You understand your feelings. You understand your reactions. You understand your mistakes. Most people avoid this. They stay busy. They distract themselves. They don't sit with their own thoughts. But intelligent people do the opposite. They face their thoughts. They try to understand them. This makes them stronger, because they are not afraid of their own mind. Also, talking to yourself helps in learning. For example, when learning English, if you speak to yourself, I am going to explain this in English. You practice, you improve, you build confidence. This is a very powerful habit, because you don't need anyone. You become your own partner. But again, people may misunderstand this. They may think, why are you talking to yourself? But they don't understand the purpose. Because intelligent people don't just think. They process. They refine. They improve their thinking. The way you talk to yourself becomes the way you think. And the way you think becomes the way you live. So if you are someone who talks to yourself, thinks out loud, analyzes your thoughts, don't feel strange. It is a powerful habit. Because intelligent people don't run from their thoughts. They work with them. And that is what makes their thinking deeper, clearer, and stronger. Sign 6. Struggling to connect with people. This is one of the most misunderstood signs of intelligent people. Many people think, if someone struggles to connect, they are weak. If someone is not very social, something is wrong. But that is not always true. Intelligent people often think differently. They observe more. They analyze more. They feel things more deeply. Because of this, they don't always connect easily with everyone. Most conversations in daily life are simple. Small talk, random topics, surface-level discussions. For many people, this is enough. They enjoy it. They feel comfortable. But intelligent people often want something deeper. They want meaningful conversations. They want to talk about ideas, growth, life, purpose, understanding. When they don't find this, they feel disconnected. Not because they hate people, but because the connection is not deep enough. This creates a gap. They are physically present, but mentally, they feel different. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you are sitting in a group. Everyone is talking about random things, laughing, joking, talking about small topics. You are there, but inside you feel, I don't belong here. This is not meaningful. I want something deeper. This feeling is very common in intelligent people. They don't enjoy shallow conversations for long. They need depth. Another important point. They are more selective. They don't try to connect with everyone. They choose carefully. Because their energy is limited. They prefer a few deep connections instead of many shallow ones. Now understand this deeply. Struggling to connect does not mean you cannot connect. It means you are looking for the right kind of connection. This is very important because many people feel bad about this. They think, why can't I connect easily? Why do I feel different? Why don't I enjoy what others enjoy? But the truth is simple. You are not wrong. You are just different. And this difference can become your strength. Because when you do connect with someone, it is real. It is deep. It is meaningful. Another reason for this struggle is awareness. Intelligent people observe people closely. They notice behavior, intentions, patterns. Because of this, they don't trust easily. They take time. This protects them. But it also makes connection slower. Now let me tell you something important. You don't need to connect with everyone. You just need to connect with the right people. Quality matters more than quantity. One real connection is more powerful than many fake ones. Also, don't force yourself. If you don't enjoy certain conversations, it is okay. But at the same time, don't isolate completely. Balance is important. Try to listen, understand, connect where possible. But don't lose yourself just to fit in, because intelligent people don't follow the crowd. They find their own circle. So if you feel like you don't connect easily, you prefer deep conversations, you feel different in groups, don't think something is wrong. It might be a sign that your mind is searching for something more meaningful. And when you find the right people, you won't feel disconnected anymore. You will feel understood. Because the right connection does not require effort. It feels natural. Sign 7. Quantity over quality. People think quantity over quality means doing things carelessly. It means producing a lot but with low value. But that is not what it means here. Intelligent people often focus on doing more attempts instead of waiting for perfection. They understand something very powerful. You don't become better by doing something perfectly once. You become better by doing something many times. Most people wait. They think, I will start when I am ready. I will do it when I can do it perfectly. I don't want to make mistakes. So they delay, they overthink, they don't take action. But intelligent people take a different approach. They act again and again. They try, they fail, they improve, they repeat. This is what quantity over quality really means. It means more practice, more attempts, more learning. Imagine two people learning English. First person waits. They think, I will speak when my grammar is perfect. I will speak when I know everything. So they stay silent. Second person starts speaking immediately. They speak daily. They make mistakes. They learn from them. They keep going. After some time, who will improve faster? The second person, because they focused on quantity, more speaking, more practice. Now understand something important. Quality is important, but quality comes after quantity. You cannot create quality without practice. Think about anything in life. Speaking, writing, learning a skill. At the beginning, your work will not be perfect. That is normal. But if you keep doing it, your quality improves naturally. Because repetition builds skill. Intelligent people understand this. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They create progress through action. Another important point. They're not afraid of making mistakes. They know mistakes are part of growth. Each mistake teaches something. Each attempt improves something. This gives them speed. While others are thinking, they are doing. While others are waiting, they are improving. Now let's go deeper. This mindset removes fear, because when your focus is on quantity, you stop worrying about perfection. You don't ask, is this perfect? You ask, did I do it today? This builds consistency, and consistency is more powerful than perfection. Also, this approach builds confidence, because when you do something again and again, it becomes natural. You don't feel nervous, you don't feel stuck. Let me tell you something very important. Perfection is slow. Practice is fast. And in real life, speed of learning matters. Now think about your own life. How many times have you delayed something because you wanted it to be perfect? How many times have you stopped because you were afraid of mistakes? That is what stops progress, not lack of ability, but fear of imperfection. So from today, change your mindset. Don't wait to be perfect. Start. Do more. Try more. Speak more. Learn more. Because every attempt brings you closer to improvement. And slowly, without even noticing, your quality will rise. Your skills will improve. Your confidence will grow. This is the hidden truth. Quantity creates quality. So if you are someone who tries again and again, practices regularly, is not afraid of mistakes, then you are already on the right path. Because intelligent people don't chase perfection. They chase progress. And progress, repeated daily, creates powerful results. Sign 8. They overthink a lot. People often say, overthinking is bad. Stop thinking too much. Just relax. But the truth is more complex. Intelligent people often think deeply. And when thinking becomes deep, it can also become constant. They don't just look at a situation once. They look at it from different angles. They analyze it again and again. They try to understand every detail. Let me explain this clearly. When something happens, most people move on quickly. But intelligent people pause. They ask, what really happened? Why did it happen? What could have been better? What will happen next? This process is powerful because it helps them understand situations better, learn from mistakes, make better decisions. But there is also a downside. When thinking becomes too much, it turns into overthinking. And overthinking can create confusion. You start thinking about past mistakes, future problems, possible outcomes. Again and again, and your mind does not stop. This can make you feel stressed, tired, mentally heavy. Now understand something important. Overthinking is not a weakness. It is a sign of a deep mind. But it needs control, because thinking should help you, not hurt you. Intelligent people slowly learn to manage this. They don't try to stop thinking completely. That is not possible. Instead, they guide their thinking. They ask themselves, is this thought useful? Is this helping me move forward? If the answer is no, they learn to let it go. Another important point. Overthinking often comes from awareness. You see more details. You notice more things. You understand more possibilities. That is why your mind keeps working. But here is the key. Turn overthinking into productive thinking. Instead of just thinking, take action. If you are thinking about a problem, try to solve it. If you are thinking about a decision, make a step. Because action breaks the cycle of overthinking. Let me give you a simple idea. Thinking is useful until it leads to clarity. After that, action is necessary. So if you are someone who thinks deeply, analyzes everything, finds it hard to switch off your mind, don't feel weak. You have a strong mind. You just need to guide it. Because a guided mind becomes powerful. An uncontrolled mind becomes stressful. And once you learn this balance, your thinking becomes your biggest strength. Sign 9. They procrastinate for their own benefit. This may sound surprising, because procrastination is usually seen as a bad habit. People say, don't delay, start immediately. Procrastination is wrong, and in many cases, this is true. But intelligent people sometimes use delay in a different way. They don't always act immediately. They pause, they wait, they observe. This is not laziness. This is strategy. Let me explain this clearly. Not every task needs instant action. Some decisions need time. Some ideas need thinking. Some situations need observation. If you act too quickly, you may make mistakes. You may miss important details. You may choose the wrong direction. So intelligent people sometimes delay on purpose. They give themselves time to think. They allow ideas to develop. For example, before making an important decision, they may wait. They may gather information. They may analyze options. Then they act. This creates better results because their actions are not rushed. They are thoughtful. Sometimes they delay a task until they feel mentally ready. Not because they are avoiding it, but because they want to do it better. This is very different from lazy procrastination. Lazy procrastination avoids work. Smart delay improves work. Now understand this deeply. The goal is not to delay everything. The goal is to delay the right things. If something is important and clear, act immediately. But if something needs thinking, don't rush. This balance is powerful because it helps you avoid unnecessary mistakes. Also, this habit shows control. They are not controlled by urgency. They choose when to act. This is very important because many people act under pressure. They rush, they panic, they make poor decisions. But intelligent people stay calm. They take time when needed. They act when ready. Now let me give you a simple rule. If delay gives you clarity, it is useful. If delay creates problems, it is harmful. So always ask, is this delay helping me or hurting me? If you understand this, you can use time wisely. So if you are someone who doesn't rush decisions, takes time to think, waits for the right moment, don't feel lazy. You might be thinking strategically, because intelligent people don't just act fast, they act right. And right actions, taken at the right time, create powerful results. Sign 10. They have higher self-control. Intelligence is not only about thinking, it is about control. Control over your actions, control over your emotions, control over your habits. Most people live on impulse. They do what they feel in the moment. If they feel lazy, they stop working. If they feel angry, they react. If they feel distracted, they lose focus. Their actions are controlled by their feelings. But intelligent people are different. They don't always follow their feelings. They follow their decisions. Let me explain this clearly. There will be many moments in life when you don't feel like doing the right thing. You don't feel like studying. You don't feel like working. You don't feel like staying calm. But intelligent people understand something powerful. Feelings change, but decisions shape your life. So even when they don't feel like it, they still act. They still do what is important. They don't wait for motivation. They rely on discipline. This is self-control, doing what is right, even when it is difficult. Another important point, they control their emotions. This does not mean they don't feel emotions. They do, but they don't let emotions control their actions. For example, if they feel angry, they don't react immediately. They pause. They think. They choose their response. This gives them power. Because reacting is easy, but controlling your reaction is strength. Also, they control their habits. They don't allow small distractions to control their day. They are aware of their actions. They choose what to do and what to avoid. This creates consistency, and consistency creates results. Now understand this deeply. Self-control is not about being perfect. It is about being aware. Aware of what you are doing. Aware of what you should be doing. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you become stronger. Every time you control your reaction, you become wiser. This is why intelligent people grow faster, because they don't lose control easily. Let me tell you something important. Your life is not controlled by your thoughts. It is controlled by your actions. And your actions are controlled by your discipline. So if you want to improve your life, improve your self-control. Start small. Control your time. Control your habits. Control your reactions. Step by step. Because once you master yourself, you can handle anything. Now think about everything you learned. These signs are not about showing off intelligence. They are about understanding yourself. Maybe you saw yourself in some of these signs. Maybe you realized something new. Maybe you understood why you think differently. And that is powerful, because awareness is the first step to growth. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You just need to understand yourself and improve step by step. Remember this. Intelligence is not about knowing everything. It is about thinking clearly, acting wisely, and growing continuously. So don't compare yourself with others. Don't try to fit into every situation. Focus on becoming better every day. If you think deeply, use it well. If you feel differently, accept it. If you see things others don't, use it as your strength. Because your mind is your power. And when you learn to understand and control it, your life will change. Keep learning, keep improving, keep growing. And if you want to improve your English while learning powerful ideas like this, subscribe and keep learning every day. Thank you for watching. Now take what you learned and use it in your life.